They believed Adam Pearce was nothing more than a corporate yes-man, a bureaucrat hiding behind a suit and tie, whose only role in WWE was to look like an authority figure while real power moved elsewhere. For months, fans had watched him powerless as Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker wreaked havoc on Monday Night Raw, tearing through the locker room, leaving bodies broken and careers hanging in the balance. These two monsters had turned WWE's flagship program into their personal war zone, operating without consequence, as if untouchable. Every week, another superstar fell victim, and Pearce seemed to stand by helplessly, enforcing meaningless fines or suspensions that never stuck, as though corporate red tape was more important than wrestler safety. But last night, all of that changed. Adam Pearce had reached his breaking point, and instead of being the calm corporate diplomat fans remembered, he revealed a side no one thought existed. The night became a turning point in WWE history when Pearce delivered a shocking act of vigilante justice, an act that stripped away the illusion of authority and revealed the man's raw humanity. At exactly 11:23 p.m., when Bronson Reed stood in the ring alongside Braun Breaker, celebrating yet another brutal victory, this time over Roman Reigns, the world changed. Reed and Breaker mocked the fallen tribal chief, gloating over what they boasted was the permanent elimination of WWE's greatest star. The arena, buzzing with shock and fury, erupted when Pearce's entrance music played for the first time in over 2 years. The look of horror on Reed's face told the entire story. He knew his rampage had finally caught up with him. This wasn't another empty threat, and it wasn't the soft-spoken manager everyone had dismissed. Adam Pearce walked to the ring with a look in his eyes that screamed of exhaustion, fury, and resolve. His suit was wrinkled, his tie hung loose, and the expression on his face carried the weight of months of suppressed rage. Fans and wrestlers alike realized instantly that Pearce wasn't here to talk. He wasn't here to make announcements or mediate. He was here for something far darker. For months, he had tried every official channel: suspensions, fines, special stipulations, backstage meetings. None of it had worked. Reed and Breaker had ignored every rule, laughing in the face of authority, and now Pearce had finally reached the point where words and paperwork no longer mattered. As he grabbed a microphone, his voice cut through the air with a tone that was unlike anything the WWE Universe had ever heard from him before. He wasn't playing a part. He wasn't reciting a storyline. He was a man delivering truth with the fury of someone betrayed by the very system he worked for. "I've tried everything," he began, his words sharp and resonant. "Fines, suspensions, corporate discipline. Nothing has stopped you. Nothing has stopped your reign of terror. But tonight it ends." The crowd roared as his anger built, but Pearce wasn't done. He revealed something no one expected. Reed and Breaker's violence had not been random. Behind their attacks was a secret corporate conspiracy, a hit list of WWE superstars marked for destruction. Pearce had found the list. His revelation exploded like dynamite. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and other top names were all on it, targets marked for elimination not because of storyline reasons, but because they represented threats to certain corporate interests. The revelation transformed months of chaos from wrestling angles into something much darker. WWE, Pearce revealed, had become the battleground of corporate corruption, where wrestlers were pawns in an assassination campaign sanctioned by executives at the highest levels. Reed and Breaker were not just bullies or ambitious wrestlers. They were mercenaries, paid to cripple careers. Pearce dropped the most damning detail. Bronson Reed had been paid $2 million to put Roman Reigns in the hospital. Breaker had collected $1.5 million, plus bonuses for each successful elimination. These weren't rumors. Pearce had the receipts, bank records, communications, and undeniable proof. This wasn't just about greed. This was about WWE's top brass turning the company into a machine of calculated violence. Triple H knew. Stephanie McMahon knew. Nick Khan not only knew but had authorized the payments. Pearce, trembling with both rage and grief, admitted he had been used. Every booking decision he had made, every segment he thought was just entertainment, had been manipulated to create openings for Reed and Breaker's attacks. Unknowingly, He had become complicit in attempted murder. The guilt weighed heavy, and his voice cracked when he said, "They made me part of this. They used my authority, my reputation, to provide cover for their crimes." At that moment, Pearce wasn't a general manager. He wasn't a corporate face. He was a man betrayed, ashamed, and determined to redeem himself. And he chose to do so in the most shocking way imaginable. With Roman Reigns motionless in the ring, Reed and Breakker standing smugly over him, Pearce pulled from his jacket a sock loaded with quarters. The crowd gasped as he swung it with every ounce of rage he had bottled inside. The weapon smashed into Bronson Reed's face with a sound like a gunshot. The 300-pound monster dropped instantly, blood gushing from his nose and mouth as the arena erupted into chaos. Fans screamed. Wrestlers backstage rushed forward. Phones captured every second of the moment that has since gone viral across the globe. The mild-mannered general manager had snapped, and in doing so, he had become a symbol of justice. Standing over Reed's unconscious body, Pearce shouted, "This is what happens when you cross the line. This is what happens when you think you're untouchable." Even authority has breaking points. Breakker, suddenly stripped of his aura of invincibility, backed away in terror. Pearce turned his cold gaze to him and gave him an ultimatum. 10 seconds to walk away, or you face the same justice. Breakker, trembling, tried to defend himself with excuses, claiming he was just following orders. Pearce responded with venom. "That's the excuse of every war criminal in history. You had choices." He then revealed something even darker. Breakker himself had suggested targeting Roman Reigns' family. His wife. His children. His extended relatives. Breakker hadn't just followed orders. He had escalated the violence to the level of terrorism. The crowd was stunned. Breakker, pale and shaking, dropped to his knees. "I quit," he whispered. "I'm done with wrestling. Done with WWE. I just want to leave." Pearce, with grim satisfaction, let him go but reminded him that the FBI would be in touch. Quitting wouldn't save him from justice. With Reed unconscious and Breakker fleeing, Pearce turned his fury toward the cameras. He wasn't just addressing the arena anymore. He was speaking to the entire wrestling world. Triple H, Stephanie. Nick Khan. I have evidence. I have recordings. I have witnesses. Your empire of corruption ends now. Tomorrow, the FBI gets everything: emails, bank records, proof of racketeering. Your time is up. The WWE Universe had never seen anything like this. For decades, fans had blurred the line between storyline and reality. But this was different. Pearce's voice, his revelations, his actions, everything about it screamed truth. The resignation came next. "I'm done being WWE's general manager," he declared. "I will not cover for criminals. I will not be complicit in attempted murder. I resign effective."